Homeschooling isn't always picture perfect. Welcome to Homeschooling with Dr. B, where we'll help you find solutions to the challenges you face and celebrate your successes with you. Now, please welcome your host, Dr. B.
Welcome, my tenacious homeschool tribe. Today we're going to be talking about math curriculum, my favorite math curriculum. I have a very shaky history with math. When I was in the third grade, my parents, out of the blue, decided to unschool us. So, didn't go to school for part of third grade, any of the fourth grade, and only some of the fifth grade. And during that time, we didn't do anything. We really didn't do anything. We played with the dogs, with chickens, with whatever was in my grandmother's house. And when we returned to school, the school district decided that we were too old to be put back where we had been left off. So we just skipped all those grades and had to pick up from there. As a result, I really missed out on some of the fundamentals. Then later that year, my parents decided to move yet again. I did move something like a total of 26 times before I graduated from high school. They decided to move to San Diego. And at this point, San Diego School District decided to do some type of integration of minority students into white neighborhoods. And I definitely lived in a minority neighborhood. We were shipped to a very upper middle class, working rich neighborhood in San Diego, where 98% of the population went on to high school. That's until we arrived with our assorted challenges. My first math teacher in middle school was Mr. Doring. Mr. Doring had a bit of a nervous breakdown. He didn't know how to teach minority students. He just, quite literally every single class, would have some type of nervous breakdown. And he decided he just couldn't do it anymore. One day he told us he was done. All because one of the students called him Mr. Boring. So we didn't have a teacher for a few weeks. And then suddenly we get a brand new teacher. Not that he was brand new to us, but that he was brand new to teaching. He had just graduated from college. He didn't quite have his license yet, his teaching license. And he usually walked into the classroom in flip-flops with a surfboard. He really wasn't that interested in teaching. He was more interested in catching the waves. The following year, I was in high school. And here, my first teacher was Mr. Spake. Mr. Spake was fascinating. Very, very smart teacher. And if you've ever watched Fast Time at Richmond High, he's the professor harassing Spicoli. In any case, the way he would explain like variables, he would go to the board and he would make circles, pink circles, purple circles. And he would say, you need to get the pink sheep together with the purple cows, or you need to separate them, or I never understood what the hell he was talking about, to be honest with you. I just never got it. The following year, I had Mr. Miner, who's actually a very good math teacher. And with him, I had to do a lot of catch up. But I was always stressed out. I was just extremely stressed out because I had so many holes in my mathematical journey. I did graduate from high school and went on to college. And in college, the first year, I decided I was going to be a translator, and I chose Spanish for my degree. Within a semester, I was bored out of my mind, and I decided that was not for me. But, that's where I started. And of course, as a result of declaring myself as a Spanish major, I didn't really have to take math. Instead, I decided to take a logic course. The first part of the semester was easy breezy. I mean, come on, we were dealing with fallacies and understanding arguments. The second part of the semester, I found out that in logic, there are equations that make algebraic equations look like nothing. Then, of course, when I changed my major, kaboom! All the work I had done in that class, all the tutoring I had received was for naught because I did have to take a math class. And I took it, I did well, I moved on. Graduate school was also extraordinarily stressful because in graduate school, I had to take advanced statistics. Now, by then, I had been successful at upper level statistics for my bachelor's degree. So you would have thought that I was calmer about the situation, but I was wigging out the whole time. Because in the program that I was in, if you received anything less than a B, you would get kicked out of the program. So I turned statistics, graduate level statistics, into this horrific monster. I remember my hair even started falling out. I was so stressed out about this class. Of course, I did fine. But I put myself through a lot of hell unnecessarily. Now, when we decided to homeschool, I couldn't believe I would have to teach math. Somehow in my brain, I didn't think I would have to do that. I thought maybe my husband would do it, or I don't know what I was thinking. And it was just a mental block, right? I was certain that I was terrible at it, that I wouldn't be able to teach my children. And it just absolutely dreaded teaching math to my homeschoolers. Now, I soon found out that this is a common problem among homeschool moms. I was not the only one. A lot of us think that we're not good at math and that we couldn't possibly teach it. Now, I would love to tell you that I researched Saxon Math extensively before choosing it, but it was something that I stumbled into. My kids had been working in this program before I pulled them out of school, and they had been testing in the 98th, 99th percentile for math. So that was an additional stress because if they went down, I knew I was the one that was responsible for that. So I stumbled onto Saxon Math in the third grade. And of course, third grade was easy breezy. Fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. Then we got to eighth. And by the eighth grade, it's called Course 2, Saxon Math, Course 3. And suddenly things are not so easy, right? My biggest kryptonite in high school had been geometry. And here I am teaching geometry to my children. So, what do I think of Saxon Math and would I choose it again? We love Saxon Math. Absolutely love it. We've been doing it for 6 years. So here are my 6 reasons why I love this program. First, every lesson introduces a new topic or a new concept. And I love that about it. It presents all the information in a way that the students are ready to understand it because they have been receiving little tidbits regarding this concept many lessons before. So the new concept doesn't hit you like a cold bucket of water. It's the first time you're seeing it. You're totally stressed out. Nothing like that. It's more of putting several concepts together into a bigger concept as you go along in every lesson. So the fact that Saxon Math is able to simplify complex concepts into small tidbits and then put them together makes it very easy to understand new concepts. The second reason I love Saxon Math, it's actually part of the first reason. As I said, Saxon presents my kids with knowledge they already know before it gives them new knowledge, new examples. So my kids have never found math intimidating. And I have to tell you, when I was a kid, not just me, but many of my friends were truly intimidated by math homework. None of the math is new. Not really. It's just when you begin the book, you start with simpler concepts that then start being pieced together to create a bigger, more complex concept. But by then, you're not at all intimidated by it because you already know some of the pieces. Just a couple of steps are new. Now, one of the things I hated the most as a kid was word problems, right? And I think that's very common among kids. The third reason I really like Saxon is because it often gives the students examples that apply to their worlds. Real application. They do talk about cooking, they talk about putting carpet in rooms, and all of that may seem silly. But just recently, one of my daughters came home and said, so-and-so's homeschooled mom said to their kids that they never use math at all. And she said, and I just had to correct her. Because when you're baking, you're using math. When you're decorating, you're using math. When you're doing laundry, you're using math. You're using math all of the time. And I said, that is absolutely correct. Why was she able to see that connection? Because of Saxon Math. And because she's able to see that connection to the real world, the math is not intimidating. And she doesn't feel like she's wasting her time learning or studying math because she has examples of real world applications. Think about how often you hear middle schoolers or high schoolers say, I'm never going to use this again. They see a total disconnect between what they're learning in the classroom and the real world application. Another part of this is that oftentimes my children will figure out mathematical problems on their own. And they feel like they've made a real discovery, right? But the reality is that it's the way that the program presents math that allows them to extrapolate it from the abstract classroom or homeschool room into their lives. And it is very self-empowering. I think one of the things I truly, truly love about Saxon Math is there's a lot of problem solving. And I allow them to do it independently because that allows them to solve mathematical problems outside of the classroom, as I was just saying. And more importantly, to feel really good about themselves and the fact that they were able to do this on their own. The fourth reason I really love Saxon is because it provides what I feel is unique opportunity to practice skills after each lesson. So you have a power up, and in the power up, there's problem solving. And I always let my children do the problem solving on their own. There's the little drill, which allows them to practice time set testing. Then we have the practice set, which allows them to practice the new concept. Then they have a written practice. And in the written practice, not only do they practice new concepts, but they are constantly reviewing material learned in previous lessons. At one point, we hired a math tutor because I was helping my husband with the business, and she talked me into giving up Saxon Math. So we gave it up for a year. And I really felt it was the worst mistake I had made as a homeschool mom. Because when the kids were constantly reviewing material, and then we did the year-end testing that we do with the district, and we do this voluntarily, they always came up in the 98th, 99th percentile. When we used a program in which every lesson was a new concept, and there was no review of those concepts as the kids went along, the kids tested in the 70th percentile. So we never did that again. And to be honest with you, I actually had my kids do 2 math books that year because I didn't want to skip the book that this tutor had talked us into skipping. So we went back and we just started there and kept going until we caught up. The fifth reason goes back to what I just said. Saxon provides ample opportunity to keep practicing old concepts. Now, some people find that boring and unnecessary, but as a family whose children consistently test in the 99, 98th percentile, who, when they were tested by an educational psychologist for the school district to see where they fell in each of the subjects, in case we actually wanted to go to a traditional high school program, my kids tested beginning college level mathematics. They hadn't even finished the 8th grade. So, boring as it may seem, I think it is important to go through these repetitive steps in order to truly master the material. And that has worked very well for our family. Now, the thing that I love the most about Saxon Math is that you don't have to be good at math to become great at math. You have some kids, and I've worked with some kids that are just amazing mathematicians. And I worked with some kids that hated math, were not good in math, and were behind on math. And they started working with Saxon Math. And guess what? They're great at math now. And every once in a while, I do review another math program where someone will tell me that their kid is really doing well using another math program. And I can't say that I've ever been really tempted to do something different, other than that one time, which was a dismal failure from my perspective, because my kids are testing so high year after year. They just finished course 2. We'll be starting course 3 this summer because we do math year round. It's really easy for kids to forget math. And they tested at beginning college level, midway through course 2 of Saxon Math. So I don't think there's any reason for us to change. I will share whenever I review another math program with you, because I know that is one of the biggest challenges for most homeschoolers is math. But I really believe that this is the best fit for our family. And the important thing, one of the greatest benefits of homeschooling, is finding programs that are right for our kids. You may test out Saxon Math and you may find out that it doesn't work for your child. Children do learn differently. In our case, we have been extremely successful, as I've said, with Saxon Math. So to recap, would I change our Saxon Math curriculum at this point? No. It has been a successful program for our homeschooling family. Would I recommend Saxon Math? Yes. If you are college bound, if you are interested in having your child take the ACT or SAT, kids who do Saxon Math tend to test very well on both of those tests. Okay, they get really good scores. Is Saxon Math right for your family? I don't know, because I'm not you. I don't have your children. You really need to check it out. Ask one of the homeschool moms that you know, or one of the homeschool groups if anybody has books on Saxon Math. And again, check it out. Don't buy it. Borrow a couple of the books for a little while and see how it works for you. And finally, I love Saxon Math because I've learned so much math while teaching my kids. I filled every hole that I ever felt was there because of my interesting educational journey. I love it, and I often find myself thinking, why wasn't this around when I was in elementary, junior high, or high school? I just truly love this program. If you have a minute, don't forget to thank our sponsors by checking out their website, hydrofeed.com, where you can get an additional 15% off using the code OMB15OFF. And let me tell you, these things are pretty amazing. If you're on YouTube, I'm going to show you what they look like. Not the sweaty one in my shoe, a brand new one. And this is HydroFeed. They're pretty cool, these insoles. They have this gel inside of it. I don't know if you can see it. And that's what massages your feet with every step. When you step here, the gel goes to your the top part of your foot, and when you step there, it goes to the ball of your feet. So it just keeps moving back and forth. I really love this in my tennis shoes, and I super love them in my high heels. But those are called HydroFeed Gold. I'm going to have to get a sample to show you. So remember, check out our sponsor at hydrofeed.com. If you found this episode helpful, please share a link to the podcast, blog, or YouTube channel on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. We would really appreciate it. Life can be overwhelming, but homeschooling doesn't have to be. For link and resources, please visit our website. Till next week, enjoy your kiddos.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Homeschooling with Dr. B. Head over to homeschoolingwithdrb.com for more information and resources. That's homeschoolingwithdrb.com. Until next time.